like I have 2 kids, 3 and 6. Like I feel like I'm solely responsible for crafting the experience of childhood for my children.
Yep.
And it's not that my husband doesn't care, and it's not that he won't get involved and help, but it just doesn't occur to him to think about the things that I tend to think about around what are the traditions that we want to implement? How am I going to help my son feel prepared, if someone bullies him at school, and like just those things that I day to day I'm having to think about and plan for, and line up resources for. It's a lot to carry. And I joke with my husband sometimes about, like, I don't think it even crosses your mind whether our kids have been to the dentist in the last 6 months, right? Like just all those
or
little
what
things
size shoes they wear.
What size shoes they wear.
Exactly.
No idea.
Yeah. And I think that in this cultural moment, it's intensified.
Yeah.
Because now we're also adding school.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
And,
Jo.
and whatever version of school is happening this week, and whatever version of kids' sports, because in this cultural moment, it's only intensifying and intensifying and intensifying.
Yes.
And how we live it out in the space where many of us are doing it under the same roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was already a stretch. It was already overwhelming. It was already bringing people to the brink
Yes.
of things. And so maybe they didn't negotiate pay because they're tired. They literally are tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And there aren't easy answers, and there aren't easy ways to ask. But I remember with one conversation with my husband, I literally just said, I don't even know what to say, so I'm just going to list all the things I'm responsible for in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to number 78 of those things, and it's not that he's not responsible for things, but we hadn't talked about it for a while.
Yeah.
Because we'd got into our rhythms and our modes, and we've forgotten that, now we have a kid in high school, in middle school, and another in elementary, and it shifted everything.
Yeah.
And so we're not dealing with one school, we're dealing with 2 and 2 sets, and it's kind of multiplied again. And so when I wrote it down, I thought, I wasn't aware until I wrote it down, let alone him be aware.
How many things were in my basket?
And so I remember us going for coffee and me just saying, I just need to show you this.
Yeah.
And he looked and he looked up, and this is someone who's been engaged in my life. And engaged and it doesn't see it as babysitting. He sees it as him parenting. He doesn't, you know what I mean? And he's not thought because they're girls that it's more the mum's job or anything like that. Yeah. But we looked at it and thought, we need to do something about this before this does something to you.
Yeah. That's so good.
And that's by default. But I think these things creep on us.
Yeah.
Well, I loved what you said about, like, I can see the trajectory of your career and where you're headed. And this is what will hold you back, is if we don't address that inequity, which is happening maybe outside of the workplace. Yeah. But for sure, that inequity outside of the workplace comes into the workplace with you in terms of the energy and creativity and all the things you talked about, like how I'm capable of showing up fully for extended periods of time, or traveling for work, or my ability to set my life aside and keep it outside of the bubble of the business and handle all of that off hours. It becomes increasingly hard. And I do think that this pandemic is a crisis for women.
Yeah. I do.
I have 2 little girls, one who's going to get to go to school until there's an outbreak, and one who is going to be home now and has to learn at home every single day. My husband's home, I'm home. I mean, it's just like everybody's in the house.
Yeah.
And I think it's really tempting for women to want to care on their kids in crisis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm hearing women, powerful women, really important women in their organizations, considering whether or not they should quit or step back or not apply for the job or whatever it is, because their family needs them now. And what could that do to the next generation of the workforce for all the women to step back?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
set us back a generation, right?
That's a scary thought. But I think you're right in that place of not almost, I don't know what this is going to look like, so I'm just going to hold back for a little.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put things on pause.
Yeah.
And so that sense of, I'm just going to put my ambition to the side, get this settled, whatever settled means, and not apply for that promotion, not push forward, not advocate for oneself more strongly.
Yes.